every night without ceremony or warning. You vanish, not into darkness, not into dreams, into something stranger, a state where there is no longer a you to experience anything at all. Deep sleep, true slow-wave sleep, is the closest most of us come to temporary non-existence while still alive. Welcome to the plasma state, where we assume that no single lens gets to explain a human being alone, and the science of what happens in sleep is more unsettling, elegant, and revealing than almost any other window into the mind. The brain does not power down. It reorganizes into a different architecture. During deep NREM stage N3, the cortex and thalamus stop speaking to each other in the usual way. Instead of the rapid, irregular, highly differentiated firing that characterizes waking consciousness, large populations of neurons begin oscillating in near-perfect synchrony. These are the famous delta waves, massive, slow, high-amplitude tides of activity that sweep across the brain roughly once every second or two. Crucially, each wave consists of an up state, neurons briefly fire, followed by a down state, neurons fall silent. Those silent periods are the key. They act like circuit breakers. Causal interactions that normally allow information to integrate across distant regions are repeatedly interrupted. The brain remains metabolically active, using only 25 to 40% less energy than when awake, but it becomes causally fragmented. In the language of integrated information theory, the brain's capacity to generate integrated information, phi, collapses. Consciousness does not fade like a dimming light, it shatters. So why would evolution design a state where we become so helpless? Because while the mind is offline, the brain is working overtime. Recent research reveals that deep sleep is the brain's equivalent of a municipal sanitation department. The lymphatic system, a drainage network that clears metabolic waste, becomes dramatically more active during deep sleep, flushing the brain in a way it can't while awake. This includes beta amyloid proteins linked to Alzheimer's disease. Think of it like a bustling city that can only run its garbage trucks when the streets are completely empty. Consciousness is the traffic. To clean the roads, the traffic must stop. Your sense of self is temporarily sacrificed so that the physical hardware can survive the night. Memory consolidation happens here too. The hippocampus replays the day's events, transferring select memories into longer-term storage. The brain is not idle. It's working on infrastructure, not experience. From the inside, the universe simply ceases. When people are awakened from pure slow-wave sleep early in the night, before the lighter dream-friendly stages begin, they almost always report nothing. Not blackness, not emptiness, nothing. As neuroscientist Giulio Tononi has put it, consciousness can be defined as what goes away when we fall into dreamless sleep. From the first-person perspective, there is no residual observer watching the darkness. The observer itself is gone. The sensory world does not completely disappear. Early auditory pathways can still register sounds or touches. A baby's cry or your own name can trigger neural responses even in deep sleep. But the feedback loops that would normally bring those signals into conscious awareness are offline. The information is processed locally and then dies. There is no you to notice it. This is why sleep inertia feels so disorienting when you are forcibly dragged out of deep sleep. For minutes, the slow oscillations have not yet fully dispersed. You are awake, but the machinery of consciousness is still rebooting, struggling to reassemble the integrated patterns required for coherent thought and self-awareness. Think about falling asleep at 10 p.m. The next thing you know, sunlight streams through your window. 8 hours have disappeared instantly. From your perspective, there was no passage of time. Deep sleep is humanity's most common experience of time travel. Your subjective experience jumped directly from night to morning, as though consciousness simply skipped forward. Long before EEGs existed, ancient traditions contemplated this exact mystery. In the Mandukya Upanishad's map of consciousness, waking and dreaming are treated as the shallow states. Deep sleep, sushupti, is the third, a state where the mind, senses, and the entire sense of individual identity fold back into an undifferentiated ground. No objects, no subject-object split, no I doing the experiencing. Vedanta describes it as a state of bliss. Not because anything pleasant is happening, but because the suffering machinery of selfhood has temporarily stopped running. Where modern neuroscience and this ancient model split is on the very last inch. Whether shutting down the machinery of experience means experience itself goes with it, or whether it strips experience down to something with no content at all, neither side has proof. But the fact that a tradition built on introspection alone converged on the same fracture point that modern sleep science is still arguing about, that is the part worth sitting with. Deep sleep is one of the cleanest natural experiments we have on consciousness. It shows that rich, continuous neural activity is not enough. What matters is the kind of activity, the capacity for a system to differentiate many possible states while remaining integrated as a single whole. Then somehow the slow waves recede. The causal links reform, integration returns, the universe switches back on, exactly as it was, and a continuous self resumes its story as if nothing had interrupted it. That seamless return is the quiet miracle. Consciousness does not gradually rebuild itself from fragments. It simply is again. One moment there was nothing. The next, there is the ordinary world, and the ordinary you inside it, already forgetting how completely you had disappeared. Deep sleep does not just restore the body. It demonstrates every single night that the self is not a permanent substance. It is a temporary, high complexity pattern, fragile, contingent, and capable of vanishing entirely while the brain continues its work in the dark. If something here felt wrong, say so in the comments. I'll read it and genuinely try to resolve. Also, please don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep thinking through things like this with us. That's where we'll leave it for now. But we'll be back with the next episode shortly. Till then, keep your inner light on.